So this is going to be a little bit complex, but we wanted to post up the presentation, and I wanted to make sure that you can actually see the data that I'm talking about. So what happened? In the fourth quarter of 2024, the price of Strategy rocketed up. And we saw these massive gains that happened, and then the price dropped back down. And what I had to do was figure out what happened. So at that point, I worked with Dan, and I said, Dan, I need you to get access to the option chain, hit the API, and export that data. Dan's like, that's no problem. What do you want? I want the strikes that started at $100 that go up to $1,000, and give it to me. And once he did that in 5 minutes, I did it old school way by using Sheets on Google Sheets instead of Excel. And then I analyzed the data, and what happened is that it was not the highest strikes that performed the best. Okay? And so when I looked at that data, it became obvious that the $400 strikes were the best, even though they tend to lose delta as the price goes higher. So based upon this information, I then took took an image that existed on the internet, delta versus gamma, which existed before. It combines both of them. So the gamma is the dotted blue line, and then you have the red line, the red line is the delta. And so when you look at this, the sweet spot, this is the part that I invented, is full gamma. And the full gamma means that you buy a stock 10 to 20% out of the money, and by a like return has to do 10 to 20% in the money. That's the full gamma. What happened in fourth quarter, as the price went up, those stocks never went in, those option trades never went in the money. So even though I was looking at my account and the highest strikes were doing almost double what the lower strikes were doing, that information was a little bit deceiving. So that's what happened. So we did this. So I posted this back on January 2nd. Do the people in the audience, do you remember this post? Does anybody remember this post? There's a few people. So I have always been, I would say, interested, amazed, trying to figure out how billionaires are able to keep their stock. And what I wanted to know is, how do they borrow against that stock? So one of the guys had called me back in June, and he gives me his pitch, cold calls me, and I said, okay, that's fine. Thank you for your pitch. Would you like to, I could tell you what I do. And I tell him what I do, and he goes, what do you want to do? I want to be able to post my shares as collateral. And so we went down a couple paths, and it took a while. That was in June. This was posted in January, so 6 months later. Why do I post this? It doesn't happen immediately. You have to do the homework and go figure things out. So I went to go see them, and what happened is they would never do what I did. They would never advise a client to have a concentrated position in one stock. They cannot do that. If you do that, they want to talk to you. And why do they want to talk to you? As most people know, I'm a Silicon Valley guy. I'm based out of San Francisco. So the Mag 7 companies, the executives of those companies acquire a massive amount of shares. If they go sell those shares, people are like, well, if they're selling the shares, they must know something, then let's dump the stock. So what do those early founders of companies do? They post those shares as collateral, and then they borrow against it. And that's what I wanted to do. And so they came back to me, and they said there's something called a variable forward sale. And a variable forward sale, the way it works here, it's a bespoke contract and allows you to post up collateral of your shares, and there is a minimum contract value, and it's non-taxable at inception. And as the time goes by, you can either buy it back or you can continue to roll it. So how many people think in the audience that Strategy shares are going to be 50% higher in 3 years? Okay. So